Great day out there, nice and sunny on my end. I wanted to just take this opportunity and introduce myself again. I am Rhonda Calder Dixon. I am a mortgage consultant as well as a licensed financial professional. Wanted to take the time today and talk a little bit around mortgage renewal wave that's coming up in 2026. So I didn't want to take this as an opportunity to talk about it being as a fear. I want it to be more understood that it's all about being prepared. And that preparation will make you have a confident decision on what you are going to do when your mortgage renewal comes up. There is a lot of renewal fatigue from rate increases. Absolutely can understand that. We've got over 1 million Canadians that are going to be renewing their mortgage in 2026. Last time they looked at renewing their mortgage, rates were incredibly low. And there's been a significant jump in rates over the last few years, which is going to impact not only the rate on your mortgage, but it's also going to impact your buying power. It's going to impact your cash flow. And these are all things that you want to consider when you're looking at your mortgage coming up for renewal. It's still a decision that you need to make. So it's a decision that you need to buy in on and be committed on. We look at, again, the planning stages, making that decision that yes, you're going to renew your mortgage. You want to form a plan around what's your plan of action with this mortgage renewal. What is your goal? What is your outcome that you want to hit with that mortgage renewal? Are you working with a professional that's going to give you the guidance that you need to move forward, help you embrace the changes in some of the decisions that you're making, whether it be consolidating debt, whether it be looking at renos, or are you looking at buying an additional property that could be a vacation home, or are you looking at just a straight renewal? Working with someone that can guide you through all of those decisions is really going to make the difference of making a smart renewal choice or just going in and signing your renewal at a rate that you really don't understand how that's going to impact you in paying down your mortgage, in your cash flow, whether it be biweekly or monthly payments. So that's a little bit about what I want to talk about today, just to give you some education, give you some support, give you some advice around some things to think about before you just go in and sign that renewal. My goal here is just to be transparent with you, but it's also to help you sleep at night with some of these decisions that are coming because they're worrisome. And I hear from my clients and people I talk to in the community that, it is a stressor, it is a worry of how are we going to make it through these next few years? Is it going to be a 1-year renewal? Is it going to be a 3-year? Is it going to be a 5-year? None of us have that magic crystal ball, but we sure do have the support of experts like myself that can walk you through these decisions that are going to be the best decisions to meet you and your family's needs. So when I look at 2026 and we look at this renewal wave, a lot of the data will tell us, as I mentioned earlier, that there's over 1 million Canadians that's mortgages are coming up for renewal this year. And the actual numbers are anywhere between 1.15 and 1.2 million mortgages in Canada coming up in 2026, with the peak volumes of that being in June. So now we're looking at March already, and you've got a mortgage renewal coming up in June. You want to start to have those conversations around what does that look like? Is it an early renewal? Is it, consolidating that debt? What are we going to look at? So now's the time to really start digging in and looking at your renewals when they're coming due in the next few months, but even 12 to 18 months out. It's not too early to start talking about those decisions and getting yourself prepped for it. You're prepared for the difference in the rates. You're prepared for what's coming down the line for you with the decisions that are going to make the right decision again for you. This is one of our bigger renewals, of the number of people that are coming up for renewal. In 2025, we had about 1.5 million renewals coming up. So back-to-back high volumes over the year, which is impacting a lot of our families and our Canadians. Many have locked in under 2% in 2021. Well, we know now rates are anywhere from 3.69 to 4.15 or even higher, depending on what you're looking to do and depending on the financial institutions that you're working with. So that's a significant jump in interest, which also impacts the significant jump in your cash flow, but it also can lengthen the amount of time before your mortgage is actually paid off, which is important to a lot of people to get that mortgage paid off quickly. So how do we sustain that same goal without breaking the bank or breaking the household? The expected payment increase impact for Canadians with the difference between 2021 and coming up for increase now versus even what was in late 2024, it's going to increase your payments by 15 to 20%. That is a significant amount. And in some areas, you're looking at up to about 26% higher than your original payment was in 2021. And we know realistically, most of us have not had a 26% increase in our income. So we've got this influx of a higher interest rate, the influx of higher payments, and our income hasn't changed to match that 26%. So again, it's not about fear. I'm wanting to talk to you about this just to help for preparedness. And in the preparation for this, how do we work around all this? And how do we increase some of that cash flow? Because it's not always realistic to go out and get another job to increase that cash flow. We need to have a balance. And sometimes it is higher debts that are out there that are at even a higher interest rate than what your mortgage is. How do we look at maybe restructuring those to increase some cash flow, bring down the debts on some of those high credit cards? So the stress point here is, as I talked about, how do we look at maybe consolidating? So rising non-mortgage debts have increased vulnerability, have increased our vulnerability. So when you have non-mortgage debts that are increasing as well as your mortgage debts, you're putting yourself in a much more vulnerable spot for where we are in making our payments and keeping our credit good and just staying afloat in all ways, shape, and forms. None of us want to be mortgage poor. So, and that's where, I really encourage you to reach out, connect with myself, connect with an expert. We will walk you through this and we will make sure that you're set up for success. And sometimes some of the conversations, as I said in many of my other podcasts as we've gone along, been consistent in my messaging. The hard reality of some of these conversations is not always what we want to hear, but it's embracing that change. Even the small structure shifts matter when we're looking at mortgage renewals and we're looking at different debt restructures or things that are going to make a real difference in our life. It's embracing that change and making those small shifts so that you can be successful in everything that you do. So the next point that I really want to talk about too is, yes, you can just sign that paper when the bank sends it out to you for a renewal and carry on your way, but you're really not getting any advice with that. And I'm not saying that you don't get advice from your bank. What I'm saying is if you just sign that form and you haven't had an opportunity to talk to your advisor at your bank or talk to, an expert mortgage consultant, you get advice along with that renewal, which sets you up more for success. And it's not oh my goodness, all of a sudden I can't do these payments. I didn't realize it was going to impact me this much. Again, what do we need to do to make this palatable, make this feel safe, and make us confident that we can sleep at night and still have our home and still be able to live our day-to-day life? Because a lot of us want to go on a holiday, whether it's a weekend away, whether it's, a month, whether it's a week, whatever it is, we want to be able to have those fun things to do. It may even be a weekend taking the kids or yourself up to a Soyuz or, flying to Edmonton or somewhere. Well, if your mortgage renewal is stopping you from being able to do that because the payments are going to be too large, that's where we want to talk, because you don't want to take your joys away in your life to live in your home and just be mortgage poor, because there are different ways to restructure things that can really be beneficial to you.